Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown and Dunkirk, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We're streaming live everywhere. I'm Doc Hamels, and I'm very glad to be back here at Chautauqua Sunrise. We're in our studios in Mayville, New York. Maybe you didn't know that. Just got back from a great trip throughout Europe, and really nice times. And I want to thank Randy Burt for covering me while I was gone, and Jeff and the crew, they filled in for me, doing all the programming and stuff. But it's always good to be home, isn't it? Whew! We jumped 3 different planes and got all the way over to Prague in the Czech Republic, and worked our way to Paris on a riverboat cruise. And you know, if you haven't traveled outside of the country, you really should do yourself a favor. Why would I say that? Because the history that is behind all of us, behind our own country, started in Europe in many cases, or in Asia, or wherever we hail from, Africa. You get to go and you get to see where treaties were signed that affect our Constitution, where we got certain ideas for religious freedom, or whatever those pillars of our democracy in our country are built on. You can actually go and visit the places where some of these actually grew and expanded, and then were brought to our country, and it's pretty fascinating. You know, sometimes I talk to people and say, yeah, we've been in Europe, and then blah 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 blah, and they say, oh, wow, you should be going throughout our country. No problem. Barb and I have been to 49 states. So we got to get to Oregon yet. But we certainly appreciate our own country and have traveled all the highways and byways of our country as well. So if you get a chance, get out and travel. People may be worried about COVID. Sure, people are getting COVID still. But if you've been boosted or vaccinated, chances are, if you do get it, it's pretty mild. Pretty mild, not in every case, but for the most part, people I've talked to. And I've known people who've gotten COVID since they've been vaccinated, and it's like the flu now. The requirements for flight now, you don't have to wear a mask, you don't have to, you hardly show any proof of vaccination. We had to do that in Buffalo, but after that, it was the only place they asked us about it. So life is returning to some degree in the world. Still people are wearing masks in certain situations, or you visit certain venues in different countries and they do ask you to wear a mask, but that's because you're in close proximity to people. But otherwise, it was nice to get out and visit other places in the world. I do want to do a shout out always. Every week I try to do a shout out to our friends in the Ukraine. I know things get tough some days, but we're all thinking of you, and you're in our thoughts and prayers. And when we were in the Czech Republic, when I was in Paris, when we were in Germany, we saw your flags being flown right along with their national flags. And I know that you're in the heart of other Europeans, and they support you all over there. So hang tough, and hopefully there will be a final end to all this horror that you guys are experiencing over there. All right, let's keep on moving along here. As always, you can give us a call during the show. And I got a good friend of mine that's returned. I haven't seen him in quite a while. We had a really nice chat before the show, and we're going to be talking about veterans and veteran services here in Chautauqua County in the region. And Mike Rauh's with me, and he's got just all kinds of good information. And it was really nice catching up with him today. So if you do have a question, a concern, a thought, whatever, give us a call at 716-753-5225. And this is one of those guys that will talk to you anywhere in the world. So those of you that are watching me out west or down in Florida or wherever, call us, because he'll hook you up with somebody down in your area, or take your number and get back to you, okay? I did that right? Yeah, he's giving me yes. We really want to support our veterans, especially with Veterans Day coming up this week. We want to put some very, very, very special emphasis and lots of energy into you all that have served our country so well. All right, so that's coming up, and we're going to hear what Mike has to say about lots of different things that have popped up in the last 6 months since Greg was here. All right, Greg's out there on some ship somewhere sailing around, and he's on a cruise. So Mike is filling in today. So stay tuned. We'll be bringing him on shortly. Every 6 months we do this daylight savings thing, and I always get it backwards. So get ready, Jeff, because he always whispers in my earpiece because I always say it wrong. After all these years, maybe I'll get it right. Thank you. We have this tradition. He always whispers in my ear, fall back, spring forward, because I usually get it backwards. But daylight savings tonight, and most of our phones and our clocks at home are automatic now, but sometimes we still have the old ones that are battery operated that we gotta go back and adjust. Here's a crazy one. Before we left Paris the other day, it was daylight savings time in Europe. Go figure, I don't know. And so I was trying to do the math in my head. So I'm thinking, all right, now if there's an hour saving, and I got to get into Detroit, and they're 1 hour, and Chicago, and there's and I just gave up. I just think, look at the paper, just see what time it tells you to get there, and just do whatever it says on your phone. It was too much for my brain that day. But I don't know. They're talking about doing away with it, so we'll see. Let's see, what else do I have here? All right. Nice weather, huh? Jeepers. 76 degrees is the record I know out of Buffalo today, and I think they're talking about either tying it or maybe going past it. But people say, well, we're going to pay for this later. Okay, I'll pay for it later. I don't care. Enjoy the day. And here in Chautauqua County, as you know, and as I always say, there's so much to do. There's, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on here in a minute. But there's festivals, and there's places that have music and restaurants and camping and hiking and getting down along the lake shores and things like that, and kayaking. Great day for it. A little windy, but it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful week. And also throughout the week, I guess it's supposed to be really nice too. So it's just so fortunate to have the beautiful fall colors here and great weather here in Chautauqua County. I mentioned music in different venues, and I always do a shout out to my bandmates. The Midnight Growlers will be at the Big Inlet next Saturday from 5:30 to 8:30, and that's just one example of all the great music that's back and alive here in the area. And do support live music. We really appreciate it out there. All right, let's see if I'm just checking on my notes here. Okay, so don't be afraid to call in if you have an announcement. If you want to share a concern or whatever it is, regarding the topic that we're talking about. And if you are listening to me on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people in Jamestown, good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in. I don't want to forget you all because you're very important to us as well. Everything we talk about here on Chautauqua Sunrise, 99.9% of the time, has something to do with Jamestown area as well. So glad you could join us here Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. So anyways, so you got the phone numbers. If you have a fundraiser or something you want to share with us, go ahead and send it to us. Jeff popped up the email address, chautauquasunrise@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put it into our lineup here as well. It's free of charge. We're happy to do it. And speaking of announcements, let's get right to it. Ready, Jeff? Here we go. Infinity Center announcing November classes and December enrollment. Infinity provides music, visual arts, dance, and theater lessons, as well as performance opportunities, group classes, leadership development, and mentoring experiences to thousands of young people in the greater Jamestown area. You know, there was a time that I thought, well, boy, you know, Infinity probably works with like about 100 kids, thousands of kids every year. Upcoming fall classes at the Infinity include, listen to this list: journal art, available light photography, sculpting, musical theater project, jam session, one of my favorites, songwriting lab, landscape painting, Infinity Christmas choir, focused and fun teen leadership group, theater class, and performance class. You know, one of the things that stands out with me about Infinity is the fact that they have leadership classes. You know, it's one thing just to be able to do some of these things, but to be a leader or promote an idea as a strong advocate is something important. And if we can teach that to young people, way cool. Additional audition-based classes and performances, ensemble opportunities include duos and trios, vocal group, advanced art, Infinity's Motown group, JJ&B, that's Jamestown Jazz and Blues Band, Infinity's folk ensemble. Cover all the genres. For more information, including dates and times of classes and age ranges, please visit Infinity's website at infinityperformingarts.org, or you can give them a call at 664-0991. Okay, Infinity accepts new students on a rolling basis each month and is currently enrolling for December lessons. Okay? And don't ever let money get in the way, because Shane tells me that they have scholarships available for folks. So if you have somebody that's interested in the arts, go for it. Okay, moving along. I got this the other day from our county executive, and it says the Chautauqua County Board of Elections and Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office are warning residents about reports of a voter integrity group. Any individuals claiming to verify voting information for November 8th general election are not in any way related to or employed by Chautauqua County Board of Elections. There's reports of a voter integrity group going door to door, and these individuals are not part of the regular election activities. I don't know what they're doing out there, why they're even there. All voters who are registered by October 14th, as election law specifics, are eligible to vote in November 8th, 2022 general election. ID is not required in your state, and proof of identity is your signature comparison at the poll site. Good to know. If you have moved and not notified Board of Elections, please go to your new poll site, where you will be required to vote via provisional affidavit ballot. All right, so somebody knocking on your door and saying they're from this integrity voter group, have a nice day. Close the door, hang up, whatever it is. It's a scam or whatever it is, and who knows, I don't know, they're pollsters or what, so just be on guard. Okay, we talked about things that are going on right now in the county, always something going on. Today, Findlay Lake Craft Fair in 45 minutes, starting at 10 a.m., 4 p.m. at the Findlay Lake Fire Hall, right downtown Findlay Lake. Can't miss it. There's downtown Findlay Lake is right there in the middle. So the craft fair will feature unique gifts and handcrafted items from local vendors and locally baked snacks and hot drinks. Admission's free. For more information, you can give them a call at 769-6568 in case you're wondering or want more details. You know, there are so many creative local artists and artisans and chefs and bakers and stuff. Get out there and get some of that good stuff. The Chamber of Commerce for Chautauqua County is always promoting shop local, right? All right, let's do our part. November 4th through the 6th and the 11th, Harvest Celebration Weekends at participating wineries of Lake Erie Wine Country, which span from Silver Creek down to Erie, Pennsylvania. Event hours run Friday, forget Friday, Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Select a weekend and enjoy wine and food sample pairings at each of the 20-member wineries. Tickets are $40 plus tax for a 3-day ticket, $30 plus tax for a Friday and Saturday only ticket, and free for a designated driver. That's me. Tickets provide you with a food and wine sample pairing at each winery, additional wine tasting, online access to all recipes for the foods you'll be tasting, and 2 $5 vouchers to use for any winery or participating restaurant. Wow. Okay. So basically, I would say every winery between those 2 towns and cities are involved, all up and down Westfield, Ripley, Silver Creek, up into Brockton, down to Erie, Pennsylvania, Northeast Pennsylvania. If there's 20 wineries involved, that probably is everybody. Okay? Okay. Upcoming event, November 9 now. Sip and Craft Night at 6 p.m. at the Grape Discovery Center. You know, we haven't heard much from them lately. Over on Main Street or Main Road in Westfield, used to be the old Ford dealership. Create a lighted wine cork holiday tree while enjoying a complimentary glass of mulled wine or non-alcoholic beverage. Tickets are $30 per person and includes everything needed to create your personally designed lighted wine cork holiday tree, a glass of wine, and light refreshments. Interested? Give them a call at 326-2003. 326-2003. I know they have seen some of these sip and art things and throughout the years, and I hear there's a lot of fun, and I know I've seen a lot of pictures on Facebook where people have been involved in their work that they completed at these events, and it seems like a good time by everybody. All right, slide 15, let's go, Jeff. Christmas in Ripley, vendors wanted. This is for the library's craft and vendor sale being held December 10th, a Saturday. This event is part of the Christmas in Ripley celebration. All right, so this is one of those call out to everybody that's involved. Call to reserve your spot ASAP. Give the library a call at 716-736-3913. And I know this is a big event, and the library, if you haven't been in there lately, is absolutely gorgeous after the renovations. And I know that they've been holding various events like that and very successfully. So if you're interested, give them a call at the library in Ripley, New York. Moving on. United Way campaign is underway. The 2022 United Way campaign for Northern Chautauqua County officially kicked off back in September. Gifts to the annual campaign help support the families and youth served by United Way partner agencies. United Way programs such as VITA and special initiatives like their literacy program and Co-Tribe join thousands of your neighbors in building a community that lives united today. United Community Christmas is back for its 5th year. Their annual holiday decorating contest has always been well received, highly visible, and enjoyable for all that take part. As in the past years, half the proceeds will remain the United Way, while the other half are designated by the most like wreath on our Facebook to a United Way partner. Register your club or business social group today, and you can contact them at the United Way in Northern Chautauqua County. Okay. Their annual coat drive and distribution is help provide coats to more than 200 kids throughout our region last year. That doesn't even seem possible, how 200 kids in this day and age need coats. In 2022, they've distributed more than 60 coats to individuals in need, local schools, and social service agencies. They're a proud partner with Partners in Kind and Chautauqua County Rural Ministry this year to create a more streamlined and sustainable effort. So good on you, Northern Chautauqua United Way. Keep up the good work. All right, let's keep moving along. This is a long one. This is for our friends in Westfield. Christmas in the Village. Okay, so this is coming up, and we're going to be talking about this for the next 2 weeks. So here we go. Number 17, Jeff. This is going to be held on November 18, 19, and 20. Westfield, New York. Village is elaborately decorated for Christmas. Window decorating contest begins. View and vote for your favorite uniquely and beautifully dressed for Christmas. What? Anyways, special events, merchant and restaurant specials, wineries, distilleries, breweries, Grape Discovery Center. Everybody's open that weekend. So this is what's happening. Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus to visit events and shops during the weekend. Christmas Tree Wonderland at Blue June Blooms. Friday 18th, only attraction. So this is only on Friday. Children's Night at the Patterson Library, 5 to 6. Stories, Hall of Trees. 6:15, carolers sing in Moore Park and visit village establishments. 6:30, Santa Claus comes to town, lights the tree in Moore Park, visits and pictures with Santa, treats at gazebo, courtesy of the YWCA. Saturday, attractions, the Hot Toddy Crawl. 11 to 4, participating shops and restaurants offer complimentary hot and cold beverages and treats. Hall of Christmas from 10 to 4. Local author, artisans, and purveyors of fine merchandise, food, all at Easton Hall. Horse-drawn carriages, 11 to 4 at Easton Hall. Free O Holy Night, 10 to 4. YWCA, a collection of over 70 manger scenes made from household items, new this year. Patterson Library from 10 to 2. Hall of Trees, Santa Claus visits, children's story time. Take and make craft kits for children, rest and refresh, 1 to 4 at St. Pete's Episcopal Church. Then treats and drinks, children's activities at the Grape Discovery Center from 11 to 5, Thursday through Sunday. Educational exhibits and displays of the grape industry, wine tasting, gift shop, craft projects available for children. Gotta have an adult. Treats and drinks for all. Lakeshore Center for the Arts from 11 to 4. Hot Toddies, Brenda Eno Art Gallery features grapes, Todd Tanner's Finger Lakes photography, artwork by Esther Knappenberger and Eleanor Maris. And then, 5 o'clock, Let There Be Light, Christmas themed parade. Guess who's going to be there? Us guys. Begins at the school, travels down Main Street, lights galore, floats and vehicles, walkers, handouts, choral and instrumental music, all welcome, but must decorate with or must carry lights, and there's prizes. And yours truly, I'll be hosting with Rick Mascaro. The guys and our crew here at Chautauqua will be filming, and it's going to be a great event. So make sure you stop by and say hi. And this is all sponsored by Grace and Abe's Brew Pub, Saturday 19th only. Attractions. Carolers from 11 to 4 Main Street throughout the village, visiting shops, and on and on. There's a holiday tea at the McClure Mansion from 11 to 2. Savory sweets and much more. Tickets are $15, sponsored by the Chautauqua County Historical Society. Hope for the holidays, a pause for reflection, inspiration, encouragement at Easton Hall. This list goes on and on. Musical Prelude, musical times 1:32, 2:30, sponsored by the Westfield Ministerial Association. Sunday, I just got through the first 2 days. Christmas movie marathon at the Lakeshore Center for the Arts from 2 to 6. There's going to be a holiday tour from 12:30 to 5, sponsored by the Westfield Women's and Hot Toddies. Let's see. There's going to be. We're going to tell you more next week. I'm going to stop right now. But if you want more information, give Marilyn Hemmer a call, 753-6043. We'll tell you more about the things that are coming up in more detail next week. But lots of fun things happening. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
As you all know, I talk about this quite often, that veterans of our country that have served our country and and served in places from around the world, you have my undying respect and thanks, as well as many of us here in the country. So thank you, veterans, for your service. This week is Veterans Day, the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour, as I've been told over and over again by my veteran friends. We'll be celebrating Veterans Day this week. And from, let me get this right, the Chautauqua County Veteran Services.
Yep, Veteran Service Agency, yes.
Agency. I got one more word. I got my buddy Mike Rauh here. Your boss is vacationing somewhere in the Caribbean, I guess.
Yep.
And but I'm glad you're here because you've been on here before, and we have a great time chatting, and we had a great pre-show discussion. So, Mike, welcome back, and tell me, how'd you get involved with this whole agency to begin with? I mean, you're a veteran, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have to be a veteran to have the job. I had moved home from Savannah, Georgia, where I was working down there for a Pier 1. I was a warehouse manager, and I sort of kind of fell into the job, and I was only supposed to be a temporary job.
Pier 1 is like
1 year.
household stuff, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I can't see you there.
I was a shipping supervisor.
Oh, all right, now I see you there.
Yeah. So, the job was really only supposed to be temporary, but we got the funding extended, and so it's been 15 years now, and I really love what I do.
And what do you do?
Well, we help veterans access their benefits. We get vets enrolled in VA healthcare. We file claims for military-related injuries and illnesses. We do claims for what's called non-service connected pension, which is a supplemental income program for wartime veterans and their surviving spouses to help them pay for care, nursing homes, and things like that.
You know, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 of you guys on the show, 5 of you involved with your agency over the years. The energy level that you guys bring to support veterans is bar none. I mean, you guys are over the top. And so I always love having you guys here. And as we talked earlier, every single day of the week, there's a possibility there's a new retired veteran or someone that has ended their service, maybe after a couple of years, here in Chautauqua County. And services are available to them, and they may not even know it.
Yeah, absolutely. The military doesn't always do a good job of letting you know what your VA benefits are, because kind of their mindset is, that's not us. We're the Army, we're the Navy, we're the Marine Corps, we're the Air Force, Coast Guard, and they're the VA. So, you know, that's where we come in. We're sort of like a union rep for veterans. Mm-hmm. And we really enjoy it. You know, in the military, you have an esprit de corps, you have that sense of we take care of each other, and that's what we carry into our job.
Yeah. Now, you were Army.
Yes.
Greg was Air Force, I think?
Yes. Yep.
What was Dave?
David was Army.
Okay. All right, great. So it doesn't matter if you're Navy, Army, Marines, whatever, you work with all veterans.
Absolutely.
All right, now, I always start out with this. I know this seems like a silly question, but in definition, what is a veteran?
A veteran is anybody who raised their right hand and made a promise to serve their country.
Okay.
Now, there are different benefits eligible for people who served at different times in different places.
Right.
But a veteran is anybody who raised their right hand and made a promise to serve our country.
All right, this is a sticky question, and maybe somebody wants to know this answer, so I'll ask it. They raised their hand, they served for 6 months, and they were dishonorably discharged. Are they eligible?
Potentially.
Oh, I did not know
so
that.
Dishonorable discharge, there's 2 different types. There's other than honorable, and then there's dishonorable. Mm-hmm. Dishonorable is usually if somebody's been court-martialed for a criminal offense.
Okay.
And then there's other than honorable, which is not always as bad as it seems. Sometimes somebody just does something dumb because they're 19.
Right.
And
went AWOL.
They went AWOL or whatever the case is. And so if they had a service-related injury or illness and you have other than honorable discharge, then they could potentially still get medical care for that at the VA. In the interim, if there was a good reason for their behavior, if they were suffering from post-traumatic stress, they come home from Iraq, Afghanistan, and maybe they get into a fist fight or they get a DUI and they get the other non-honorably discharged. You know, we could potentially get a discharge upgrade.
Oh.
And then that can help them access more benefits. Mm-hmm. So just because maybe things didn't work out doesn't mean you shouldn't come in and see us.
Okay. That's good to know. And I think I ask that question from time to time is what is a veteran? Because I think a lot of people think it's got to be somebody that was in for 25 years or whatever. No. Technically, if you've been in 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever, as long as, you can serve them. And the form they have to walk through the door is...
It's called the DD 214.
See, I have it written down there every time.
Exactly.
I should have it tattooed across my forehead. I remember how to get my dad's. Okay?
Absolutely. Now, men and women who served prior to in the World War II era, they would have a different form because their discharge form was not standardized until the late 1940s. Then it became the DD 214 for every service. But for them, it would be their discharge or separation papers. But after anybody served after World War II area, it's your DD 214.
Okay. Now, because I know this, and I always emphasize this whenever you guys are here. Okay, I know that you know this answer, so I'm leading into it. So the minute you got this, I'm talking to the camera right now. You listen to me now. If you're a veteran out there and you've been discharged recently or not recently, and you have not done this, you need to do this. So what's the first thing they need to do when they get home?
Register their DD 214 with the county clerk.
Perfect answer. A plus.
A plus, because if you lose it, then the county clerk always has it.
Absolutely. And recently I knew a gentleman that they were trying to find his stepfather's DD 214, and they were tearing the house apart. And I said, did you check with the county? Lo and behold, they did.
Yep.
Because thank goodness that person had registered, and the person had passed away, but it was registered. As town historian for Ripley, I actually have a book for all the World War II guys, and I have the pictures evidently that were submitted at the time or something, had to do with the county, but I have whatever the county has, I have in a big binder, and it's pretty cool. And but that's important for veterans to know that, and I think that's something that maybe they don't even think about. They're just glad to be home. They're celebrating, but get that registered. So where do they go in Mayville?
The county clerk's office.
Okay.
Just go to the county clerk's. You can call them.
That's Larry Barmore, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have what's called the return the favor card. So you register your DD 214 with the county clerk, and you get a little card. They take a picture and a list of businesses that have discounts that honor that card.
Sweet.
Yep.
Very nice.
And they'll usually tell you to get in touch with us.
Okay. So before we forget, where are you? I know you guys have what, 3 locations? 2 locations. 2 locations.
2 locations.
All right. So if a veteran or their family, right,
Yep.
are listening right now, or you're a friend of any of them, please listen carefully to what Mike's going to tell you, because you can contact these guys at these locations. So go for it.
Okay. So our Dunkirk office, David Adams runs that office, does a fantastic job up there. He's located in the VA clinic in Dunkirk. And then our office we moved last year.
Yes, I know that, yeah.
Exactly. So we're at 567 Fairmount Avenue. We're in the Warwick Plaza. So that's right across the street from Tanglewood Manor. There's the little light there. You turn up Warwick and park in the back. And you'll see our sign. There's a maroon canopy. We have a gray sign right there.
Yep.
And just come on in, ask for Mike or Greg. And you can contact us at 716-661-8255. And Dave's number is 716-268-6030.
Okay. And what are the hours for that, Mike?
8:30 to 4:30.
And if it's after hours, they just leave a message?
Leave a message and we'll get back to you.
Okay. So one of the questions I always have of you guys is, what is the most unused VA benefit that veterans seem to fail to use?
VA healthcare. Really. VA healthcare. Like I said, a lot of times vets aren't really told what they're eligible for. And VA healthcare to the 70s and 80s didn't have a great reputation. But now they're fantastic.
Yeah.
They treat me like $1 million. We were talking before the show. The VA offers a lot of things, and the only thing with my VA doctor, she keeps telling me I need to lose a few pounds. And
I'm not in the VA, and I can hear that too.
but she's right, and my VA doctor in Buffalo is wonderful, and she takes great care of me.
Yeah. I know three other veterans besides you that use VA services, and they can't say enough about the VA. It's Buffalo or Erie, either place, and they're eligible to either one, right?
Yeah, you can sign up to use either one, and then you can use. We're really fortunate here in Chautauqua County. We kind of have a unique situation, in that we have 3 VA clinics in a short in the short area, and 2 major VA hospitals. So we have the Jamestown VA Clinic, the Dunkirk VA Clinic, and the Warren, Pennsylvania VA Clinic.
Oh, okay.
We have the Erie VA Hospital and the Buffalo VA Hospital.
Yeah.
So you can't swing a stick without hitting VA healthcare.
Okay, so I was telling you a little bit of the story, and I think I may have shared this with all of you. My dad was in World War II, and he worked for General Motors, and they had really good insurance. And I think one time I asked my mom, why didn't my dad participate in the VA? Oh, no, we don't do that. And I'm going like, okay. So I just let it go. Well, years later, after I ran into you guys, I realized Dad could have if he wanted to. And it has nothing to do with their insurance.
No, not at all. So the VA hospital can bill your insurance just like any other hospital or any other doctor. Mm-hmm. And in fact, it's good. We want as many veterans as possible to sign up, because even if you only use it a little bit, it still helps the system. Congress appropriates money by the number of veterans that they identify in each hospital's territory. So even if the veteran only uses it for maybe checkup once a year, flu shot, or maybe to get their hearing aids, because you can get hearing aids for free at low cost, then that Congress will appropriate more money to that VA hospital. And any unused money goes to the pot to take care of other veterans. So a lot of times we'll hear guys and gals say, oh no, I got to get good insurance, or I don't need the VA. Still sign up, because you're helping your fellow veterans by getting more money for that VA hospital's budget.
So it's like a census that they build the amount of people that are in that area that are active. Okay, so people might be listening again, or family members are listening again. What do you got to do to participate? It's pretty simple.
Okay, yeah, come see us. Enroll in VA healthcare. We'll help you through the enrollment process. We sit down and do the form with you, and sometimes there are income limits and different things. There are different categories depending on when you served, or things like that. But we can go over all that, over all of that with you when you sit down with us.
Okay, and if I remember right, in order to stay active in the VA system, you got to get your annual checkup. Yeah,
get your checkup once a year. You might be able to save money on prescriptions, and that's a big thing nowadays. With the VA, generic prescriptions are $5 a month, non-preferred generics are $8 a month, and brand names are $11 a month. So a lot of times you might have a brand name prescription that might be $40, $50 a month. Mm-hmm. You can cut that down to $11 a month.
Right, that's super. Help me understand clinic versus the VA hospitals. Yep. And Erie's not a hospital either.
No,
right?
Erie's
a medical center or something like that.
Yeah, it's technically a clinic, but they're sort of mid-range between a major hospital.
Right, they do certain things, but they can't do all things.
Yeah,
right?
They could do a great deal, a lot there. Yeah. The local clinics, Jamestown, Warren, and Dunkirk, they can provide routine services, checkups, blood draws, physical therapy, PTSD counseling, and those type of things. So they can do a lot at the clinics. When it gets into things like EKGs and major testings, then you can go to the VA or compensation exams for service disabilities. Those are done at the VA or private contractors.
So if someone were to go to let's go to your clinic where you're stationed in Jamestown, and they need more help or more testing, does your clinic then write a script or help them get their appointments? I mean, how's that work?
Yeah, so what the VA doctor will do is they'll put in a request, and then they'll try to get you into the Buffalo VA. You can ask them to make it at the Erie VA, or if you have trouble traveling because you're disabled, you can ask for them to make it at a local provider. And if they have a local provider with a contract, they'll do that.
Okay. So, for instance, if I'll make this up, one of the local hospitals would be a provider? Like for an MRI or?
Potentially. If they can't, say for example, they can't get you in for a timely manner, which is usually like in 30 days, and say they need nerve conduction test or EKG or something like that, then they can get you maybe to WCA or something.
Gotcha. Westfield or
Westfield.
Brooks or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's good to know. And I appreciate you taking the time explaining this to me, because I know it's a little complicated for people when they're not familiar with the system.
Yeah.
Oh, take a call? You got a
Sure,
call?
absolutely.
All right, good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Dak. Good morning, Mike.
Morning.
I want to change questions real quick.
Sure.
Everything we see on TV right now is Camp Lejeune, how you can sue them to the military guys that were supposed to get bad water.
Would that be the ad that's on every 7 minutes?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
wonder the scam, because when you read the fine print, you can see the fine print. They're not even legal lawyers or anything, and I don't know if it's something you would call them, or you could go to Mike and he can do something, or
Well,
it just sounds like a scam to me. I mean, I heard they had bad water, but these commercials are and they're not even really lawyers from when you read the fine print.
That's a really good question, and I'm glad you called and asked about that. There was contaminated water at Camp Lejeune, and there are VA benefits related to that, and there's a number of illnesses related to that that you can file compensation claims for. In terms of the lawsuits, there are some reputable firms, and there are some that are probably less than reputable. My suggestion would be always, if you're interested in filing a lawsuit, to check with your local bar. They could point you to a reputable lawyer. Now, the difference between filing a lawsuit and filing a VA compensation is that for VA compensation claims, we are limited to what the VA calls a presumptive list. So the VA has a list of diseases that they concede is related to the contaminated water. So what happened was the Camp Lejeune, they were basically dumping solvents like benzene and stuff directly into the groundwater, or some of it spilled. And that causes a number of diseases. So right now, Congress and the VA have come up with a list of claims that include adult leukemia, aplastic anemia, bladder cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, multiple myeloma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and Parkinson's disease. So if you have any of those or have a diagnosis of those, we can file a compensation claim from the VA. If you have something other than that, we could potentially file a claim, but we need a medical opinion from a doctor to support your claim. A lawyer can file a claim for anything.
What's that
I
called?
recommend probably not even use these commercials. Are they more of a scam? I mean, just go to your regular VA and stay away from them.
Well, we don't want to go on record here to say any particular ad is a scam, but I think Mike is pointing you to the direction is check with your local lawyer.
Yeah. Your local bar association, the commercials, like I said, I have no way of knowing which ones are reputable and which ones are not, but your local bar association can point you to people that are going to help you properly to file a lawsuit. And that would be tort law, which is something completely different than VA.
How's that? Does that answer your question?
Okay,
Howard?
that sounds good. Thank you. I just, as we say, they're on like every second, and I'm just
Yeah.
Yeah.
worried,
It's a little too much after a bit.
Well, and give us a call, come in, and we can answer any questions about the VA, and we can have time dedicated to you if we have an appointment.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good call. Great question. I think it's the difference between civil law and what VA can provide. I mean,
Yes.
it's two different routes, right?
Absolutely.
I suppose you could do both.
You can do both, and the difference is the lawsuits are still being hashed out. So there may be other medical conditions that are being fought about in court.
Right.
And we can file claims for things on the list, and potentially not on the list if you have a doctor's opinion.
All right, I don't mean to be morbid on this, but let's say there was a veteran that died of kidney cancer.
Yes.
I think that was one of them. Is there any way that somebody could say that was linked to this if the person served at Lejeune?
Yes, their spouse can, if they have a spouse or dependent children or adult disabled child, a child that was disabled prior to age 18, then they can file what's called dependency indemnity compensation. We call it DIC for short. And if we could show that the veteran died from one of those disabilities, then we can file a claim for it. The same we can as if a veteran died from a disability related to Agent Orange or burn pits or things like that.
Well, okay, I think that's really important for people to realize that although the person may be gone, there's benefits that the spouse or the family still could
Yes.
be enjoying, I suppose, or be due if you could file the claim.
Yes, and those benefits include not only maybe a monthly compensation payment, but Champ VA healthcare, which is a free healthcare policy.
Oh, wow. Okay. So if there's somebody that's a widow or they're a minor, I guess, and somebody, they should still give you guys a call. Right?
Absolutely.
We got another call.
Cool.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jack, and good morning, Mike.
Morning.
Mike, this is Linda Spalding. It's a voice from the past. Remember, I used to walk into your office and ask you questions and get help?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Good morning, Lynn.
Oh,
morning.
good morning. I always have to give a very warm thank you, appreciation to all of our veterans because
Absolutely.
there's no greater love than to lay your life down
Really?
for your friend or your fellow man. Thank you very
Well
much.
put. Well
Thank
put.
I really appreciate it. I have a question. I have two sons that are veterans, and I understand that there's going to be, isn't there going to be a memorial in Mayville with the names of our veterans?
There is a memorial.
Oh, there is.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
it's near the cemetery, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right near the cemetery. I haven't seen it.
It's like a little pavilion.
Yeah, we have
We've had him on the show here. Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead, Mike. You go ahead.
I don't know a great deal about it, but I know that.
Yeah, there's little plaques, and there's I can't remember who's the contact for that is, but yeah, that's
I know the contact people for. You know, I do remember when it was going in, and I forgot about it.
Jim Kurtz, our buddy Jim Kurtz would be a good contact in Mayville.
Well, yeah, I have contacts with the veterans because.
They put these little plaques up for everybody. You
Yeah,
buy them and put them
yeah.
in there. Yeah, I've driven by it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to take care of that. And also, I want to say what tremendous services we get in Chautauqua County with our local veterans.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you to Greg and everyone.
Dave, yeah.
You've been really great.
Thank you very much.
All right, Lynn, thanks.
Well, have a great weekend and a great day. It's going to be beautiful weather.
Yeah, it is, Lynn. All right, take care. Thanks for
You
calling.
too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. I think also we should establish here too, and I'm always find this important, that you guys are not the VA.
No.
And I know you alluded to it a bit ago, but I want to say it again. You're not the VA because people, I'm sure, probably call you up. You know, they're just screaming your ears off, and hey, whoa, we're here to help you.
Yeah, we're the advocates. So we work between we fight for you. It's our job to be on your side.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a semi-adversarial love-hate relationship with the VA. With VA healthcare, it's more love because they do a great job in terms. But in the VBA, the benefit side, that's where we file claims for you. We stand up for the VA. To the VA, we file appeals if a claim is improperly, denied, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow, there's a lot to this, isn't there? Okay, I want to share something with you that I said I was going to do. So Jeff, if you get that ready for me, I said that I was in Europe, and I did not realize this. And this is a tribute to the fallen veterans of World War II. But when I was in Luxembourg, there is a cemetery there that is paid for. That's the Gates. That is the cemetery that's funded by the United States on a regular basis and maintained by locals. But there's over 5,000 fallen soldiers and Air Force pilots and so forth that died during the Battle of the Bulge, and General Patton is buried there as well with his troops. And I just found the thing very profound, and I took these pictures to reinforce the fact that we often think, oh, why did we do all this and stuff like that? And Europe is extremely grateful for the service of our veterans then and now and probably in the future of the support that we've given them to protect them from things like the Ukraine situation right now and Hitler and all the other atrocities that have taken place over the time. So I didn't know anything about the cemetery, and I just wanted to point that out, that they honor our veterans every single day, and that cemetery is like a golf course. That grass is like a carpet, and it just, and as I could have shown other pictures, but there's a chapel and all kinds of things. Very, very impressive. Yeah, and Jeff just reminded me, and you mentioned it, Mike, there's one in Normandy as well. So very, very interesting. Okay, getting back to local things. So you mentioned, I think I heard Linda or somebody, or the first caller mentioned burn pits. Now, this doesn't seem to be getting as much action as I've heard about Camp Lejeune. So burn pits, Afghanistan, I think.
Afghanistan, Iraq.
Oh, okay.
So they burned medical waste. They burned all kinds of nasty stuff. And there are a lot of different.
They being who?
The military.
Oh, the government.
The Army, Marine Corps,
Okay,
Navy.
our people.
Yeah, our people. We burned all sorts of different things, and it's causing a lot of different health issues. There was recently what's called the PACT Act, which was passed, and that affected a lot of different things. One of which was it expanded benefits for people who have illnesses related to the burn pits, and that list is still being hashed out. There's about 20 different conditions that the VA is working on another presumptive list, like they have for Camp Lejeune, like they have for Agent Orange, and now the burn pits.
Okay, so do you have that list or part of it?
I don't have the list with me because a lot of it's new and still getting hashed out. But the best thing to do is come and sit down with us. We could pull up the page, work on file the claim. As an advocate, my point of view is I would rather file a claim, even if it's not on the presumptive list, because these lists grow. I've been doing this job for 15 years, it'll be 16 years in February, and the list of diseases related to Agent Orange has gotten bigger. And so these lists tend to grow as the research changes and as the law changes. So if you file a claim that's denied, then we can go back and reopen it.
Okay.
It's always good to get it on the record.
All right. So the burn pits were places where they burned stuff near where the troops were living?
Yeah, right near where they were living on the bases, all over Iraq and Afghanistan.
So prevailing winds were blowing
it all over the place.
Carcinogens in the air. And
Yep.
Not a well thought out plan there.
Not at all. I've seen vets who've had brain cancer and had all kinds of different things. More than one. It's numbers that are significant standard deviations from the normal population.
Okay, so we got Camp Lejeune situation. You got burn pits. So how would someone know that they were even near the burn pit? They would know?
Yeah, they would know.
All right. And this was Afghanistan and Iraq?
And Iraq, yep.
All right. So once again, we're providing folks information. If you know a loved one that's a veteran that talks about that situation, or you're a veteran that was near this, come see Mike and the guys. All right. Please do. All right. My least favorite topic is PTSD. All right. And I know that you've got programs for peer counseling and things like this. Post-traumatic
stress disorder.
I always forget the S. Okay. People say, well, you were just shook up in that. This is far and away deep stuff. And I know that when I've talked to veterans from 3 different wars now, World War II, Vietnam, and the Iraq-Afghanistan situation, this is serious stuff. And these guys are gals are living in purgatory in my mind. And what's happening and what's helping these folks?
Well, we're all different. So there are some symptoms that veterans or anybody with PTSD are going to share, and there are going to be things that you're going to experience that's unique to your situation. And not all post-traumatic stress is related to combat. There's what they call MST, military sexual trauma, for somebody who was abused. I've known veterans who sadly, unfortunately, walked in on a roommate as they took their own life.
Oh boy.
Or who were in a helicopter crash.
So it's traumatic no matter what it is.
It's any traumatic event. And PTSD is how your mind reacts to try to help you cope with it. And, myself, I've seen a PTSD counselor for about 13 years at the VA.
Wow.
And, so really the best thing is is if you don't do anything, the situation has control of you. If you go see a counselor, if you hook up with Cindy Reedy at the PFC Dwyer program, and we can find a way for you to contact with another vet that has similar experiences, then you start to understand that the problem is not you; it's just how you've learned to react to it. And but if you start doing something, you take control of the situation, then it's going to get better. And it's not going to be an immediate cure. It's not a headache. I take an aspirin. Okay, we're all going to find different ways to cope with it. The best thing to know, though, is that you're not alone. That there are other people who have similar experiences.
I've seen in some veterans where they're going along fine, years, and then there's a trigger, something sets them off, something on TV or whatever, and they have a meltdown.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example, and I think, even though my dad is gone, I think he'd be okay on this. And this really threw me. Back, I think it was in 2008, somewhere around there, up in Buffalo, there was that micro burst where they had that snow that dumped like 4 feet of snow just on Buffalo. And all the tree branches were cracking and splitting from the weight of the snow. And that was, I think, in like late October or something like that. It was really weird. And my mom said my dad was really very anxious, and I don't want to use the word freaking out, but he said it reminded him of gunfire when he was in the service. I never, till that day, ever heard my dad talk about being strafed, and or anything like that. And it seemed like from that day forward, we talked more about his experience in the Army because it seemed like it unlocked something. So, am I far off that this is something that sometimes is
not at all
locked up, and then all of a sudden one day it opens up?
Not at all. I mean, there are all kinds of things that can sort of bring these things back. Actually, I spent a year in the service in Korea, so I kind of have. I love the show MASH.
Yeah.
There's an episode of MASH. Exactly. There's an episode of MASH where Hawkeye has a bad memory triggered by a smell.
The boat.
The boat. Exactly.
Yes.
And so anything, a smell can bring it back. There's sounds can bring it back. Foods can bring it back. Anything can sort of trigger and trigger these memories, or it may be a constant thing. That you may not need triggering. It may be something that is with you all the time. The problem is that they teach veterans how to go to war. They teach you how to be tough, but nobody teaches you how to come home, and nobody teaches you how to deal with these things. And so, the good part of being tough, learning how to soldier on, and learning how to succeed under adverse circumstances, is that when you come home, you don't seek help. But if you break your ankle playing basketball, you go to the doctor. Okay, going to see a counselor is the same. We need to get rid of the stigma for mental health treatment. It's the same as any other treatment. It doesn't mean you're weak, doesn't mean you're dumb, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. All it means is you have a medical condition that you need help with.
Perfect. I'm sitting here looking at you, Mike, and you're a big tough guy, and you're telling me that if you need something, you get it done, and you get help. And I think that's what the message with Veterans Day that's coming up this week to take home, and all of you that are veterans, is think about what Mike has been telling you, and we've been sharing here regularly here on Chautauqua Sunrise, is that there are places and people that can help you.
Absolutely.
And so, Mike, let's one more time, because we're just about out of time. Where can people access your services?
Okay. They can reach us at the Jamestown office and give us a call at 716-661-8255. You can reach David Adams at the Dunkirk office. Give him a holler, 716-268-6030. Just give us a call, make an appointment, and so we got time to dedicate it to you. We can sit down and help you in any way we can.
All right. And where's David actually located in Dunkirk?
The Dunkirk VA Clinic.
Where's that on? What, Central? Or?
I don't have the address.
It's in the phone book.
Yep.
And then let's give a shout out to Cindy. How do they get a hold of Cindy?
Give Cindy a call, 716
969-5542.
5542.
And it's a peer-to-peer counseling. Folks, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. All your veterans, Mike, thank you so much for coming by. Come again. This
Absolutely.
is fun. And we'll do this all again next Saturday morning with a different guest, of course. Have a great weekend. And again, give a pat on the back and a thank you to a veteran that's out there right now. And veterans, don't be shy. Take care. Bye now.
Thanks. I enjoyed it.